day out here today, but that shouldn't stop us from doing some great outdoor barbecue. Today's March 18th, and I want to show you yesterday, St. Patty's Day weekend. We were partying with friends. We started on Friday night. Kenny and Anthony, I want to thank you for your help. We used Walkerswood's Jerk Seasoning, and we got a couple pork butts, and we made sure to take the bones out of them. I boned them for the guys, and we then marinated them with a little bit of olive oil and Walkerswood's Jerk Seasoning. I've told you this family, I've been in contact with them over the last 25, 30 years. They're in Jamaica. They have a community-supported agriculture farm there where they grow everything that is in this sauce: the carrots, the scotch bonnet peppers, the cilantro, the scallions, and all that is grown right there in Jamaica, even the limes and the thyme and the garlic. And it's all done on their CSA farm where the community comes together and they manufacture this jerk seasoning. It's a wet paste. And they jar it there and ship it here. You can get these. You can buy them in most grocery stores, either the hot and spicy or the mild. So we'll put that back there. We've got our applewoods all together, and we got our chimney here. We're going to let that charcoal ash over. $9.64 for this beautiful pork shoulder. Folks, 99 cents a pound. Where can you go wrong for this nice hunk of meat? Well, to bone it, what I like to do is start with my boning knife and take off this fat cap. And I'm going to save this fat cap because what I'm going to do, leave a little bit of meat on it. And I'm going to score this and cook it beside the pork shoulder. I sharpened this knife ahead of time so that I wouldn't have to stop with my dirty hand. And that's what you want. You want this whole skin right off of your pork butt. Then you can score it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take the bone out of the center of the pork shoulder. I'm going to use this sharp Cutco knife. And what I want to do is I want to make one slit right down the middle. Along the bone. You can see the bone here. So, coming along that bone, what we can do is use our Cutco knife that's really super sharp and come underneath that bone here, keeping the meat intact. I use this knife, two knives, because it makes it so much easier to slice all the way through with a longer knife. Now we want to work our way around the bone. You can see right where that's at. Okay, we're going to stop and we're going to get our ashed over coals into our smoke box. So these coals are nice and hot. We want to pour them in here. And we want to save a little bit of coals because I'm going to do some baba ganache. I got 2 whole eggplants that I want to add to that. Okay, you can see that we got the bone out here. Okay, I'm going to put that in the bag and save that. Make a nice stock with that. Move this knife out of the way for a minute. I'm going to show you what we can do lengthwise. Okay. Now, in order for this pork, we did 2 of these at our lounge. I'm going to butterfly this a little bit to roll it open. Same thing over here. Going to butterfly it. And then what we got here, when we butterfly it, is we have 2 nice pieces of meat that can be seasoned and then put onto the grill. We're going to marinate it first. And then what we're going to do is put our eggplants on and get them charred. So the jerk seasoning, really simple. You want to take your pork, add that to the bowl. Such, get that little piece there. Get your cutting board out of the way now. All right. All right, so we're going to get our jerk seasoning going here. We're going to use almost a whole jar for that amount of pork. To that, You want to add some olive oil, not too much, about a quarter cup. There's a good quarter cup. All right, mix that up with your fingers and your hand. Real simple. This is how simple this is. Add it to your bowl and begin to massage your meat. Get that all massaged in there. Turn it over. You can baste this as it's cooking. It's going to cook for about 2.5 hours. And then we're going to check it. So, there is, we'll keep rubbing that marinade in. Marinated jerk pork shoulder. I have decided that I'm going to put our eggplant in the side smoker instead and get this pork. We could marinate it for hours, we could marinate it overnight. It's not going to make a difference. When it's cooking for 2.5 hours, you're going to get a lot of flavor in there, and it might even go to 3. So what we can do is put these eggplant, we could put them right on this fire. Let's open our smoke box over here and let's get our coals nice. Let's place our eggplant right here on the coals to char for our baba ganoush. And that will allow us to then put this in after the eggplant is charred. That will allow us to get this eggplant nice and charred on the coals for our baba ganoush. While we close up the grates, scrape the grates, and get our jerk pork shoulder on over these coals for a little bit, get a nice little char, and it's going to be on here for about 2.5 to 3 hours. All right, so while that eggplant chars, we'll take this rag with a little bit of olive oil to get our grates nice and clean and seasoned for our pork. Get a little flame going while we get our nice butterflied pork on. All right. Presentation side down. There's our 2 nice pieces of pork shoulder, marinated with jerk seasoning. Get all the rest of this marinade out of the bowl. Put that right onto here. Not hot yet. But once we close the smoker, that will be super hot. What I want to do is get some of this applewood out, because we're going to use some of these applewood chunks dry in the smoke box. We can put our bowl over here for our eggplant when we're ready. You can see our eggplant is getting nice and charred there in the smoke box. Look here, our pork. So today when I'm done with these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a digital thermometer after the 2.5 hour mark. Kenny, you inspired me. Get some charred eggplant that I did on the fire over here to make some baba ganoush. And there's our jerk pork shoulder. We're going to do the skin here and the bone. Okay, so our meat is at 136 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the perfect time to wrap them in some peach butcher paper. So it's windy out here. We're going to need to weigh this down. Weigh it down a little bit. Get that thermometer after. And take your meat, pull it right up, bring it over, make a nice pouch. You can see that I switched these two sides here. This piece came out beautiful, so did the other one. Look at that nice char on there. Okay, we got some little scragglers on the grill. This one we can do a little bit neater. There you have it. Look at this beautiful skin. We're going to leave that on for hours and hours and hours. The bone is starting to get charred. So why do we do this? Why do a bunch of guys, it's usually 25 regulars that hang out at our lounge, but there's over 100 members. Why did we decide to do pork shoulders instead of corned beef for St. Patty's Day? Well, we were sitting around this last week and we were taking a little survey, and most of the guys don't like corned beef. I couldn't believe it. I love doing corned beef, especially, with our own pickling spice and some Guinness, and cooked with some, garlic and getting it all going. But believe it or not, the guys said, "Hey, we don't like corned beef," and in fact, most of the guys, their adult kids, don't like corned beef. Funny thing, I was at my eye doctor's office this morning after we already had our jerk pork shoulder at the lounge this weekend, and I was talking to a gentleman there, and he told me that he invited his son over for corned beef that he made, and he came with his girlfriend that he's engaged to, his fiance, and the two of them didn't like corned beef. And in fact, the fiance only ate bread. She didn't like potatoes. She didn't like cabbage. Very picky, finicky eaters. And so a bunch of us that were sitting around my eye doctor's office were laughing about the fact that this next generation is not so much into corned beef. This is why we decided to this Friday to marinate, to bone out 2 pork shoulders and to marinate them with the Walkerswood Jerk Seasoning, and to get them on the grill on Saturday. And all the guys hung out, and we got to enjoy some jerk pork shoulder sliced super thin with some rolls and salad, and Anthony's family recipe for their macaroni and cheese. So I figured, we really went. We didn't think we were going to go through that much meat, almost 15 pounds of meat, and we did. So here we have another 8 pounds that I'm going to bring over to the lounge for tonight for the guys to enjoy while Babe's out with her friends. And let's close this up and let it go. The great part is that today, with our fire over here, those coals have been keeping this smoker under 300 degrees. Perfect timing, perfect temperature. All right, so the charred eggplants should be cool enough to take the skin off and get the seeds out, and make our tahini and our baba ganoush. We'll bring that over also with us. There's nothing like making your own baba ganoush. Look at the charred skin coming off this eggplant. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I want to show you, if you really want to have baba ganoush enhanced, Cardonas sells cayenne pepper. So ground cayenne pepper, you're going to want, this is traditionally what goes in here, and that's about enough right there. So I'm going to give that a sprinkle over. And again, I always use a vessel instead of sprinkling over with the whole spice container. Also, a little bit of ginger will not hurt. Put that into a little bit of ginger. Ginger and eggplant go well together. And coriander leaves, so you can get all the well released from them and squeeze them up, put them in there. Now the one thing I will tell you about baba ganoush, in order to really get that good flavor, is you want to refrigerate it before serving it. All right, so this is the, we got 2 packages of the jerk pork. Look how I let that rest. When I let it rest on a rack, after coming off the grill, you can see that all the juices ran back and forth. And resting on a rack will allow your meat to have an even color. I don't want to take all of this out. I just want to take a piece out and see what it looks like in here. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful stuff. Okay, let's try. We're taking this over to the lounge, so let's try and just get a piece out if we can and show you what that slice is like. Of course, chef's always got a taste, and then we'll make sure that this is nice and tight. Again, to go to the lounge, we'll wrap that with some foil to keep that hot. Look, I got all that baba ganoush, but our guys, they're manly men, or should I say they're brawly men. I'm going to bring that much baba ganoush. If they want more, I'll come back and get some more. But I want to show you, look at that, jerk pork. Let's see how it slices. And the seasoning, the flavoring, without marinating it for several hours or overnight, just dry and wet rubbing it and putting it right on the grill. Tender. Delicious. Moist and juicy. Luscious with a nice spice to it. I'm going to pull some of this over here and save this for myself to eat. And what you're looking at is this beautiful color is that smoke infused. The applewood, hardwood, smoke infused leaves a nice smoke ring in the meat, at redness, beautifulness. The temperature of this meat was perfect when we took it off. We let it carry over cook on the rack, and whew, yummy, yummy, yummy. We're here at the lounge, getting ready to serve up and let people serve themselves. We hope you enjoyed this video from Taste of Schenectady and Beyond Magazine.